So let's get started. Like I said, welcome everyone. I am so overwhelmed with joy at the number of people that have joined us today. It is so wonderful to know that there are so many of you like-minded people that have come together to celebrate these amazing creatures that connect us all, birds. I'm sure you'll find a connection to the stories to come ahead this morning that go along with the photos from the wonderful folks you're going to see that you see listed here right now. Because more than the pictures, this is about stories. Birds do truly connect our world. We're going to go through the photos and their stories, then end with some resources for everyone to talk about and to take away with them at the end. I will also share highlights from questions and answers, and this is where you come in. So please ask as many questions as you would like throughout this event. It won't distract me or any of the speakers, as Ellen Bouvier, our communications manager, is here with us in the background right now, and she'll be the one privately answering your questions throughout if she hasn't started already. She may also put information in the chat box, as I mentioned, for everyone to see, such as links or answers to frequently asked questions. But note, because of the high volume of participants, I have just disabled this chat feature for everybody to input into. Now, I am recording this event, so if you have connection issues at any point, don't worry, you will get a copy. We'll send it along with other great links and resources for you to access as well. And two more fun things. We're going to be using the raise hand feature. So if you're familiar with that along your panel and you see it there now, please raise your hand to let me know that you see this. Awesome. Nice. That's great. Okay. So lastly, we're also going to be doing polling. We'll run a few polls that I encourage you to vote on. And these polls are mostly meant for fun interaction, just so that you know that I appreciate you being here. And so I'm going to launch our first poll. So please go ahead and click or tap your answer. And I'll give you a few seconds to do that right now. Like I said, we're going to do a couple of these throughout the event, and so we can see everybody's results. And this, again, I will send this out to everyone with the email. This is wonderful. So I'll give you about 10 more seconds. And again, if you missed out or I was too fast and you didn't get to answer everything on the poll, don't worry. You can always put your, you can always either put it into the question, the Q&A, you can put your answer in, you can add more information in there, you can ask questions about if you want more information. And here I'll show you what it looks like. So it looks like we had about half of the participants here today answer the poll. So awesome. Looks like everybody's seen the robins and the geese back, and maybe only about 30% of you have seen any owls come back this year. So that was just my fun little tester to get us going. And what I'm going to do now is get us started. Once it clicks, there's like memory here. You should be able to see my mouse, everyone. There we go. Okay, so like I said at the beginning, birds connect our world. And that just happens to be the theme of this year's World Migratory Bird Day. But beyond just our stories, I wanted you to know that the migrations of these birds traveling internationally across sometimes 3, 4, or more borders connects us through research and citizen science as well. And at the end of this event, I'll share some links to ways you can get involved in citizen science if you're not already, and other things you can do to continue to celebrate our migratory birds today. All right, let's get to our stories. The first story is from Jordan Rustad, a recent university graduate from the Regina area, who is also just happens to be the last Mount Bird Observatory bander in charge for the past couple of years. She shared this. My mom owns a farm southwest of Avonlea, and it's 2/4 of pasture surrounded by cultivated farmland. Over the years, I've seen many different birds here, but this one is particularly special. A pair of Swainson's hawks make their home on our pasture every year for at least the last 5 years. They nest in the same tree, and it's close enough to the road so we can watch the babies grow up. Eventually, we can watch them all leave the nest and migrate. It's an amazing experience every year, and also a good source of pest control for my mom. Well, the hawks are back again this year, and I'm excited to see how they do. And this image was taken from Jordan at the last week of April, the Swainson's hawk back. This next one was taken by Mr. T. Kyle Miller on April 28th at the Gardner Dam, while him and his wife and their dog were playing at the beach. They had no idea what the birds were, but thought that their calls were eerie, something out of a sci-fi, he described. If you look for a moment at the birds, you can really see how big they are and how majestic they are. When standing, they stand about as tall as a great blue heron. And during migration, they often fly in flocks numbering in the thousands and very high in the sky. When you hear them, it's distinctly different from geese, and yes, sometimes sounds eerie. Raise your hand if you have, any of you that have ever seen or heard sandhill cranes before. Wow, that's great. Sweet. Okay, so for the next one, I'm going to let somebody else speak. And since this is my first time doing this, I'm going to go to our list. And I am going to give Lacey, who works with Nature Saskatchewan, is on maternity leave right now. I'm going to hand over the audio to her to share her story. And so Lacey, when you're ready, please go ahead.
Hello everyone, great to be here. My 3 daughters and I, we went for a walk around Wascana Lake on Thursday, this past Thursday. It was a beautiful morning. We saw the usual birds that we see most times we go for a walk. The Canada goose and some goslings, that was fun to see. We saw the crow and the robin and the mallard, but we were really excited to see the red-breasted nuthatch and the white-breasted nuthatch, because we've been doing a bird lesson every day as part of our homeschooling, and those are 2 birds that we've been studying, so it was fun to see them in their habitat. We also saw an American widgeon, which is fun, and eared grebe. You don't see those very often, so that was nice to see. And we saw our first shorebird, the avocet. And you can see it in the picture with the geese and the goslings. It's just in the water behind there. It was a beautiful morning, and we always love to watch for birds. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lacey. That's wonderful. I know this is such a special time, and I'm so glad to hear that you and so many other people are taking the time, and I'm just so curious if we could just fast forward to 20 years from now, those children, their experiences of 2020, I don't think they're going to forget. And I hope that some of those memories and those feelings actually increase their connections to nature because of this time that we're in right now. So next, we just have a little lag time. Oh, there we go. Next, I'll read, Angela Gunther shared a few beautiful photos with us, and this one was my favorite. Raise your hands if you've ever seen a red-winged blackbird, or if you've seen one this year. Awesome, right on. Yes, I absolutely love watching these. These birds, they're entertaining, and they seem to be, in the urban setting anyways, they seem to be not just confined to the marshy wetland areas as much. We see them several blocks away from the wetlands now nesting, which is quite entertaining and wonderful for lots of residents. So I was particularly happy to see Angela submit this beautiful photo of the redwing, and this is her story. She shared, on April 24th, 2020, I was out for a drive with on one of my favorite country roads about 20 minutes southwest of Saskatoon. I saw this blackbird on a branch, and with my camera ready nearby, I took a few photos of it. As I always do when taking pictures of wildlife, I turned down my music and stayed as quiet as could be while hoping not to scare it off before hitting the shutter release button. I hadn't looked too closely at it when starting to photograph it. It wasn't until after I took the photos that I realized that it was a red-winged blackbird. I've been back down this road several times since and often see these birds on the same tree and always appreciate their vibrant wings as I go by. So thank you, Angela. I'm sure we can all relate to that. Next, we have Esperanza Sanchez, who is an avid birder that has participated in our events before. We are so pleased that she has joined us today. So I'm going to turn the audio over to her now to share her story. Please go ahead, Esperanza, when you're ready.
Thank you, Rebecca. Are you hear me?
Yes, we're so happy to have you here. Please go ahead and share your story.
Let me 1 second. I try to, okay. Sorry, I try to organize here. On the afternoon of April 27, I was washing the dishes at my daughter's Juliana house. My daughter has a beautiful kitchen with a window from where we can observe the nature and the ever-changing weather mood. Suddenly, I saw the bird flying around. I noticed the bird was bigger than the ones we observe on a daily basis. My hands still on the soapy dish. I leaned closer to the window, gazing at this beautiful bird. My heart skipped a beat and went to the happiness override. With seconds, I dropped the dish in the water and flew downstairs to retrieve my camera. Anxious gripped my stomach. I prayed the bird will still be there. When a camera around my neck, I went into the backyard. The bird was still there. I signed in relief. As quiet as I could be, I inched closer to the bird. Camera ready, we began a dance of immortalization. Then, too soon, he flew away. I want to tell you that this photo was taken as part of the series called Backyard during the isolation times, COVID-19. This was the first time I had seen this bird, and after a quick search on Google, I discovered it was a male North flicker. No matter the times, happy or difficult, I am grateful. We can always look out the window and see a bird fly by. I am happy to share this photo with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esperanza. That's a beautiful moment. And I can, I don't want to speak for everybody else here, but I can personally attest to having a number of those moments over the last couple of months. And it is just so wonderful to be able to see those birds and have those happy moments. So next, again, our leg time. Sorry, folks. There we go. Now, some of you may have seen this one already. This guy has become quite the celebrity. I had seen this actually shared on Wascana Center's Facebook page, and I just had to reach out to find more. So Gail Pratt Ohochinsky graciously agreed to share her story about the moment that this happened. This is her story. I had just finished our caretaking duties for the day in our downtown high-rise at the Canadiana. Walking into our suite, I always rushed to my patio door to soak in the view. At first, I thought I saw a pesky pigeon perching on my railing, but soon realized that this was one incredible dude with a commanding presence. Being a person who is terrified of birds, I kept reminding myself that this beautiful beast was on the other side of the glass. All is safe. Just take as many photos as you can while walking closer before it scares off. Yeah, this thing isn't scared of me or anything. As I slowly approached the glass, clicking photos, it suddenly turned its head towards me and gave me a piercing glare as if it were saying, "Who do you think you are?" Once again, I was thankful to be behind glass, thick glass. My heart was beating intensely as we began our staring match. I had no problem with conceding. My husband, too, was able to join me before this majestic bird flew away with great speed. We then quickly looked up information about it and found out this peregrine falcon is actually the fastest bird in the world, reaching over 320 kilometers during its high-speed dives to catch their prey. And when they're just chilling out for leisurely flight, they'll go about 65 to 100 kilometers per hour. And good news, folks, she says, it doesn't attack people. Phew. She says, thanks for listening to my story. So now I know this image here is not something that we are all privy to on a daily basis, but I just had to share it because I know we all adore peregrine falcons. And if you're not familiar with them, I encourage you to look them up. They're an amazing bird creature. So please do look them up. And if you are lucky enough over the course of your lives to see one, that is wonderful. I know the city of Regina, you might see them downtown. They often nest at the city hall. They have actually a platform way up high at the top on the east side of the building there. And maybe scattered throughout the province as well. You may see them from time to time. So next, Melissa Rinaldi, we have, who works with Nature Saskatchewan as well. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Melissa now to share her story. So please go ahead when you're ready, Melissa.
Thanks, Becky. Hi, everyone. I've lived near A.E. Wilson Park for most of my life, and it's one of my favorite places in Regina. While in the park earlier this last week, I noticed a couple of American avocets. So I thought it would be fun to return with my 4-year-old son, Liam, to show him these pretty birds. Liam's with me here now. Yeah. It was very sweet to see how excited and quiet he became as we snuck a little bit closer to photograph the shy pair. To our surprise, just a few minutes later, we were also treated to a couple of white pelicans close by. Yeah, those are the pelicans. How lucky were we? This year, in these strange times, the arrival of spring and migratory birds has uplifted our spirits and been the highlight of our days. Both serve as reminders that times will warm up and we will all meet again soon. You ready, Liam? Ready to sing? We both wish you a happy World Migratory Bird Day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Melissa and Liam, for that wonderful story you shared. Again, I'm so pleased to hear that you are getting out and that Liam and all the other children out there are having these wonderful opportunities to make these connections that potentially maybe we wouldn't otherwise get to do when our lives are otherwise so much busier. Now, before we go on to the next slide, we're going to do a poll. Melissa made a good point about these strange times and how birds have uplifted her family's spirits. I know I can say the same and have found myself and my family spending more time watching birds. But I want to hear from you. Please take a moment to answer this quick little poll for me and let me know. I know our experiences are, and when we have time after this, our reflections are going to be varied and diverse. But one thing that I'm hoping is that through all the chaos and all the strangeness of this, that you are able to find the time to still enjoy the birds if not have more time. And for those of you that are finding that you're having less time because of all the new responsibilities and other tasks that you have to do, my heart goes out to you, and I really hope that you are able to, moving forward, be able to incorporate more of this kind of thing in your daily life. So with that, I'm just going to share here that for the most part, people are showing that they're having more time to get out. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. So I appreciate that you actually took the time here this morning to join us to share some of those moments. Next, we have Caitlin. Caitlin actually lives in Southwest Saskatchewan, and she emailed in to share this moment she saw of this beautiful bird. Caitlin, when you're ready, please go ahead and share.
Hi, yeah, so I live in Ravens Creek, which is in between Maple Creek and East End in the Southwest. And I'm one of these new COVID-19 bird watchers. I never really paid attention before. And this, I saw the eagles on April 3rd, and I think that's when started all of my bird watching, because yesterday I went for a walk and I couldn't find my binoculars, and it was here. I was like, I need to have my binoculars. So I've definitely changed, and it's been a good change. So yeah, I was driving to town from Ravens Craig along the Valley Road. So if anyone's been out here or read Candace Savage's Geography of Blood, she talks about this stretch of road. It's the 706 or the Valley Road. And so, yeah, I saw this eagle, and I thought, holy, I didn't know there was, like, I'm pretty new at all this. So I just thought eagles, I thought that was like BC or something, or, you know, I didn't expect to see them. I was with my husband. It was one of our like one trips going into town a week, and I was like, pull over. So we pulled over, and yeah, I saw this guy or girl like close up, and then I could see two others sitting over on the hill. And then this guy just started to, he finally took flight and was just kind of surrounding the other two. And in my innocence, I was kind of like, oh, are they mating? And I asked a local birder, Joan Hodgins, and she said, no, they're just traveling. So yeah, I thought that was, yeah, it was really cool. And yeah, I've been Zooming a lot with my family in Texas. So it kind of ties into, because they're traveling a lot, and well, obviously that's what they do. So it's, yeah, today is kind of cool with the Migratory Bird Day, and especially for someone new, for me, that's new to all this. So yeah, thanks for letting me speak.
Wonderful. Thank you, Caitlin. That's absolutely awesome. A perfect example of how birds really do connect our world. So wonderful that you're able to connect with your family down in Texas and have those, you know, if nothing else, sometimes, you know, I think about when I'm out talking with farmers and ranchers and producers, and I often think about what's the most common thing we talk about. Well, obviously I'm there to talk about birds, we're talking about birds, but the weather. And so we often commonly forget, and we go to our go-to you know, icebreakers or talking points about the weather, because that connects us. But sometimes we forget that birds actually connect us too. So, you know, that would be also interesting to see how many people now start small talking about birds that maybe didn't before. So that's I'm very pleased that you were able to email in and share that. Thank you, Caitlin. So we've got a couple more surprises for you before we let you go and enjoy the rest of this World Migratory Bird Day. The last of the photos, and then I have one video. This one comes from Scott and Kathy Schaefer. They shared this beautiful story, what has turned out to be a lively spring at their place. And now I apologize, I had to condense this. I will, in the email when I send out to everybody, share the stories that go along with these photos, and I will share the full the full story of the journal of this beautiful adventure that Kathy and Scott are witnessing, but this is a summary of it. They shared, I thought it'd be cool to see, wouldn't it be cool if we saw an owl? And as we turned a corner, we spotted along our walk a large nest that with what I was sure were owl ears sticking out of it. We rushed home for binoculars and camera, and sure enough, there was Ellie, a great horned owl, sitting in her nest. Also, side note, very cute that they named all these birds. We visited her every day and soon after found her partner Elliot perched in a tree that we call the wishbone tree close by. Welcome, Elliot. We soon saw that Ellie was sitting much higher on her nest, and we started to notice some white fuzz under her. So we knew for sure that baby owlets had arrived. At first, we thought there was only one, and we named her M. But then we saw a set of eyes peeking out on one of the pictures, so then there were two. We named him Earl. This was on April 23rd. And then there were three. Let's call him Griffin. April 28th. 3 owls jumping on the nest. One fell out and began his quest on April 29th. When we spotted Griffin on the ground, we didn't know what to do. Someone needed to put the baby back into the nest way up in this very tall tree. We ran home and smartly sent a text to Shirley Bartz from Nature Sask and also to Salt Haven Wildlife, who told us to our surprise that Griffin looked as if he was big enough to do okay outside the nest and that Mama and Papa would protect him and feed him. Who knew? So over the next couple of days, we spotted little Griffin under the tree, but then it rained. And then we didn't see Griffin. Over a week passed by. Then on May 7th, during our walk, we stopped to say hello to Em and Earl, and then went to see which tree Mama and Papa were perched on, and what to our wondering eyes did appear but little Griffin, perched on a hill of dirt there on the bottom right that you see, right under Papa's tree. Maybe there's a reason we call it the wishbone tree. He was about 50 yards from the nest tree, quite a trek for a baby owlet. And wouldn't you know, we didn't have our cameras with it. We went back though later around 7:45, and Mama was on the hill with Griffin, cuddling him and feeding him something meaty. We didn't look too close. And so if you want to hear the full bit that they shared with us, please check that out when we email you. It's absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much to Scott and Kathy. I'm so glad that not only you, but your neighbors are able to watch this wonderful story, and we wish Griffin well and his apparently sisters well, or sister and brother well as well. So thank you for that. And lastly, this is a special video that I had to share. I know this is a photo sharing, but I had to share this video. This is Shauna's story. Please, first though, raise your hands if you've ever in your life watched a goose migration in the sky. Yeah. That's awesome. Great. So as you all can hopefully relate to, she shared this. I'm going to play it with you and also share with you her story. Shauna shared. Hi all, I moved to Regina in January 2019. For her dream job at Fisheries and Oceans, which fulfills her fish nerdy background. But
oh my gosh, I hit the perfect timing.
Since she arrived, the true beauty of the South has brought her a new love to her life, spring bird migration. As she was driving home from yet another amazing Saskatchewan trip, she noticed a flock of birds flying into the sunset. Then she noticed more. And more.
They just keep coming. Oh my goodness, there's so many of them.
And more. So of course she slammed on her brakes and immediately pulled off the side of the road. Maybe not the safest way, she admits, but hey, this was epic. Then she watched in awe with goosebumps as she was witnessing the greatest goose migration ever. Into the sunset, the flocks by the thousands show us this epic journey that snow geese take every year to and from their breeding grounds. So I'm just going to let you sit back and enjoy one more moment of this. Because honestly, as Shauna says,
Wow.
she wants us to remember the sheer beauty of this planet and this province, as we are only here for a short time. She says, have a great morning and happy birding. P.S. I always love to go on adventures, and now I'm adding to my skill set bird ID. Thanks to Nature Saskatchewan. So thank you so much for that, Shauna. I could play it and continue on, but unfortunately, our timing, I can't believe how fast half an hour goes by. I feel like we're just getting started. And I don't know about you, but this has got me energized and excited for the rest of the day and the rest of spring. I know there's so much more migration to come here over the next few weeks, and I hope you all get out, whether it's safely from your windows, your balconies, your neighborhoods, or your area around you, to be able to enjoy it. I did want to mention a few things before we go though, so please stay with us for one more moment. If you follow us on Facebook throughout today, you'll have a chance, maybe if you want to get involved with our Nature Bingo Challenge or other opportunities to win prizes. You can see here, we're going to be entering to win our Birds of Saskatchewan major publication, one of our Nature Saskatchewan Bird Operation Burring Owl shirts that I'm wearing today. And also we had a beautiful donation from our Friendly Feathered company who donated window marking kits. And so we will be giving those away as well. And unfortunately, we don't have time to go over the questions and answered, but I'm okay with that. I hope you are too, because what I will do is we will summarize the questions and we will send out that in the email as well. One other thing I wanted to mention, if this is something you're interested in, out of the 450 species, bird species that come to Canada, nearly 300 of them pass through, breed, or overwinter in Saskatchewan. So to help and be the voice for conserving their habitats, please consider joining others across the country and help defend their birds. You can go to birdday.ca/defend and see what that's all about. And lastly, here are a number of links you can check out. And don't worry about writing them down, as like I said a few times now, you're going to get a copy of this webinar. And since, just to be sure to remember to follow us on Facebook, like I said, for the prizes today. And lastly, before we go, I have one more poll to do. I just want to take, as you're doing this poll, a brief moment to actually acknowledge something else. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. We are so grateful to all our mothers and all you do. Thank you to our mothers and our feathered mothers out there. I know Griffin's going to appreciate his mom and dad just as much as we all do, and hopefully we'll take a moment to do that tomorrow. I won't share I will leave this poll open for a moment, and I won't share the results of it because I'll let you, once you're done the poll, you can feel free to go on your merry way of birding. So thank you. Thank you for kicking off World Migratory Bird Day with us, and happy birding to you all. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.